Hey guys, so welcome to the second part of the organic chemistry playlist, or our journey into organic chemistry, and that is IUPAC naming. So IUPAC naming is a really important way of naming things. The whole world follows this system of naming. So if you want to if you want to talk about an organic chemical compound or any chemical compound, with anyone in the world, the IUPAC naming system would be the most efficient way to do so because everyone in the world follows it. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do today. This is for organic compounds, so that's what we're going to discuss today, and let's get started. So, IUPAC naming or IUPAC names of an organic compound are typically made up of three main parts. So we're going to talk about the parts of an IUPAC name. So the first part that we have is a prefix. And then we have the root word, and finally we have the suffix. So these are the three parts of an IUPAC name. Now, in the prefix, this right here, it usually tells us about the substituent or branch. So substituent or branch. So in these we could have examples like if this is our substituent, we would have chloro. If this is our substituent, we would have nitro. These are substituents. For branches, if this is a branch somewhere, this is methyl. Or if we had CH3, this would be ethyl. So these are some examples of a prefix that could be used in an IUPAC name. So let me just write this here. Okay. Now the root word, this one right here, it talks about the number of carbons present in the parent chain. So let me do this in a different color. Number of carbons in parent chain. Now these, I'm going to write these right here. Example of these would be, if there's one carbon, that's meth. 2 carbon, that's eth. 3 carbons, that's prop. 4 carbons, bute. 5 carbons, pent. 6 carbons, hex. 7 carbons is hept. 8 carbons is oct. 9 carbons is non. And 10 carbons is dec. So yeah, these are the root words. Some of the root words. We could have a 20-membered chain as well, but all of those are available online. These are the ones that you should make sure to memorize, and these are the ones that you use most of the time as well. So these are root words, and these root words are used to represent the number of carbons that are present in a parent chain. So let's say there are 3 carbons present in a parent chain, then we would go with prop. But yeah, those are easy. That's the easy stuff. Now let's come to the suffix. So when we're talking about the suffix, we have two suffixes. One is let me choose a color. One is the primary suffix, and the other is a secondary suffix. So yeah. Now, the primary suffix talks about the degree of unsaturation. Okay, that doesn't fit here. So the primary suffix talks about the degree of unsaturation. So, I mean, not necessarily the degree of unsaturation, but it talks about the double bond. Okay, wait, let me rephrase that. Not the degree of unsaturation, talks about unsaturation. So the unsaturated carbons are talked about in the primary suffix. So if we have, let's say, okay, these are examples. If we have a single bond, like carbon, single bond, carbon, then we would go with ane. If we have a carbon, double bond, carbon, and also, by the way, ane is when all the bonds present are a single bond. That's when we use ane. We use the double bond, this second case, ene, is when there's one or two, basically one or more than one double bonds. And if there's a triple bond, one or more than one triple bond, we go with ine. So these are the primary suffixes that can be used. Now, let's talk about the secondary suffix. The secondary suffix talks about the functional group. So that's what the secondary suffix talks about. Now, later in this video, we'll talk about all the different functional groups there are, but as far as you can, some of you may know, there are some functional groups that are pretty known to us. One of them is an alcohol. For this, we use all. So ethanol, methanol, those. Then we have an aldehyde, which uses al, like methanal or ethanol. Then we have a carboxylic acid. We talked about an example in the previous video. This uses an oic acid, so propanoic acid, like that. Now we'll see a bunch of other examples later on, but that's the parts of an IUPAC name. So we've got the prefix, we've got the prefix, the root word, the primary suffix, and the secondary suffix. So those are the parts of an IUPAC name. So moving on, we got to look at the rules of an IUPAC name.